back live, 239 Uncensored Studios. Got another guest in the building, as always, brought to you by Maxwell Mortgage Team, Jimmy P's Burgers and more. Man, I had a group of Reuben there yesterday. Absolute fire. And Becker Custom Builders, our guy Blake. We're honored. I'm going to let Larry give the flowers per usual, because these guys, they go back like car seats, but they have a heck of a history. But we're very honored to have this guy. Can't wait to talk some politics. There's like 2-3 people that when they talk politics, like I'm all ears. Like if I need information or whatever, honestly, this is one of 2 or 3 people I think of to not only get the inside scoop, but the knowledge of what's going on. Larry, give this guy his flowers.
Oh my God.
This is 13 years in the making.
Dad, it's been a hot minute.
This guy I've been knowing.
Or maybe longer, because
our relationship started out very rocky.
Let's be real.
An understatement.
Yeah. You didn't like this guy at one point. Let's be real.
I really dislike this gentleman. But this is the way the world works. As men, we sat down, we chopped it up, put everything behind us, move forward. Mm-hmm. Now, I really consider him a good friend, a good ally. I go to his home. I sit with his wife and kids. We talk, we laugh, Christmas, everything. But he also always lose to me because he liked UM and he had to buy me a bottle of tequila.
Well, not this year.
I'm not talking about this year. I'm still talking about the past. So let me bring him on my guest now. You a hater, man.
I'm not a hater.
It brings me great joy, again, to introduce my arch rival, everything else, man, my buddy, Chris Hudson. And I also ran against his father.
I was going to say, Chris could do the ultimate mic drop. He said, well, you're 0-1 against my father, so yeah. If you want it to be.
Hey, it's good, man. It's good to have you here, Chris, man. I love you. Thank you, just for being a man. Thank you for just being able to sit down with me and we able to talk. We squashed our differences way, way back, and we just been moving together, worked on a few things together, and look forward to working with you in the future, man. I love you, brother. It's all you. Why did I say it's all you?
The you. Speaking of the you.
To be you.
What a great season we're having, Chris.
I mean, 5-0. It's incredible.
Cam Ward.
Have you ever heard of 1-4? I hear that adds up to 5.
Well, I haven't seen Larry in any FSU gear lately.
I'm a little disappointed. I never thought of him as a bandwagon fan.
Oh, he is.
But I mean, today, it seems accurate.
Is this what this show about?
No.
This show is about jumping on Larry today?
No. But let's go back to when I did prefer to be your arch rival.
Mm-hmm.
Prefer. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't prefer it today, mostly because I lose a lot to him now. I mean,
now you're on the same team.
I've had to exchange a few bottles of tequila to this guy, or slowly pay out my debt in tequila. It took me a little bit to honor my commitment.
He drinks that expensive stuff now.
He does. Oh, no, he was very specific. Most people are like, oh, you owe me a bottle of tequila. He's like, it'll be Casamigos, Blanco, and a specific liter.
I'm sure.
On a Tuesday. Please bring glasses and rocks. But in all seriousness, one of the things that I think the political process doesn't understand is that you can have this moment. You can have this like, hey, come to blows. Politics is a full contact sport.
Yes, sir.
It is a full contact sport.
Yes, sir.
It's a lot like being a booster or a fan of a sports team. You are going to come to blows from time to time, but it's usually about ideas and it's about good intentions. We go back to that period, 2007. Most people don't know this. I don't even know if Larry knows this. I was sitting at a desk at DCI Group, okay, in 2007 when my dad first ran in that special election, all right, here in Collier County. And I said no to running the campaign 2 times. It was almost like a weird, like, am I going to be Peter and deny my old man? And I totally did. It took a consultant to call me and go, well, here's the deal. You can be a $30 an hour employee at one of the less reputable organizations in Washington, D.C., or you can get your butt on a plane, come down and help your dad and pay back for the years of, I don't know, raising you, suffering, the debts that come from having to deal with a kid like you. And I was like, well, that adds up. So I came home. I kind of actually took it for granted. I was like, oh, we won this big 4-way primary. We're good, right? We're good. And then someone said to me, you have to run again in a year. He's got to run again in a year. And I was like, well, yeah, but nobody's going to challenge him. And then here comes Larry Wilcox.
Here comes some guy.
Here comes Larry Wilcoxon. And I said,
from Houston, Texas, back home.
That's right. And I went, who is this guy? And why is he tormenting us? We just got done getting pounded on by 3 other candidates and got outspent. And this guy comes rolling in from Immokalee. What is going on? I will say, though, you fast forward to that campaign, us getting to have conversations. I know you became close to my father.
Yes.
And my father became close to you.
Great man. Great man. People, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but man, I got a lot of love from Mr. Hudson. He's in Tallahassee now. And when we ran, like, it wasn't, you know, we had a differences at first, but throughout that entire process, he gave me pointers on how to run a campaign. He gave me pointers on things like how to go about delivery and talk about. And you don't find that now. And that's why, like, I always tell him, man, like, I respect you so much and then thank you so much for what you've done, because he didn't have to do it. You know, he just could have been a nasty individual and so forth, but he didn't take that road like this stuff that's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's
sorry
too
about that.
personal now, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I think about it. I've now worked on thousands of races all over the country. And your race is probably one of a handful I can think of between my dad and another individual where it wasn't nasty. Don't get me wrong. It got a little testy, but it wasn't like I'm coming after your children.
Yeah.
I'm not like, and by the way, that's where we are today. Right.
I know.
So none of that existed. Yeah, it was, I don't like you because you believe this and you believe that. That's all normal difference of opinion dialogue. That's the contrast that has to come out in a campaign. But it wasn't, I dislike you because you're from X, or I dislike you because your mom works here. None of that stuff mattered, right? Man. It was about the ideas and what you guys wanted for back. I don't even remember the name.
It was Jackson. It was pretty much Jackson Labs, but really separated everything.
Yeah, it really was. It was this like boondoggle that came to. That's a whole nother day, man. That's a whole nother day. Listen, I wanted to say this, and I meant this. You have these moments in politics that don't happen very often. A full contact sport, but it is a lot like football, basketball, anything else. You can get on the pitch, you can get in the gridiron, you can smash it up. You can be frustrated with each other. You can pull each other's jerseys. You can, rough it up a little bit. When you walk off the field, it's like, I got mad respect. You got out there and you did the thing.
That's it.
And I think we sat down and we talked about, a lot of things. I will say, and tell me if I'm allowed to do this, but he has a lot of flaws. I mean, team selection, one. Team selection's one. I mean, sometimes the apparel selection, I see him in D.C. walking through the streets, and I go, I can see Larry from 6 blocks away.
Now, why?
And I'm unclear. Is this a part of the new Capitol Police security program? They just got Larry out there in a purple cowboy hat strolling.
So you got to realize with Larry, though, everything is strategic.
Oh, I know it is. I know. It's part intimidation, part peacock. You never know what's going on.
Always comes on a little late, makes the grand entrance in the room.
Man, Chris funny, man.
Am I
funny
inaccurate?
how? Like a clown?
Yeah, a little bit, Chris. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Not too inaccurate, but just
talk about some of the political campaigns. I know you've been part of a lot, but like one or two that kind of stand out to you that you can talk proudly of. I know you've been on the winning sides more than not, but just, give people a little bit of background, what you've been a part of.
Yeah, most people think that the biggest campaigns for me were probably my dad's elections, but they really weren't. Mm-hmm. I had the benefit of being successful in those, but I think some of the coolest experiences, the things that hardened me for the rest of the country, it wasn't until I left the state of Florida and started working in other campaigns that I realized, man, they're really all the same. The location is different. The challenges may be slightly different, but the people I can find, no offense, Larry, I can find a Larry and a Pat and a Chris in every single state.
Now, let me ask you this, though, because one gentleman, Madison, said this. He's never seen anything like local politics in Southwest Florida across the country in terms of resources, money spent, just overall travel in the country. Is there another city, county that compares to Collier County, Lee County in terms of local politics on a grand scale?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking at Florida, the two that come to mind immediately,
mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people like to throw Lee County in there, but I wouldn't throw it in there. I'd say Okaloosa, Fort Walton, Santa Rosa, those counties, you forget. They're just like us. They got money.
Mm-hmm.
And got that old money.
And just like us, I don't know that a Democrat's been elected there in some 40 years or something.
That's the real South.
And they are that's the home of, another firebrand, right? In the Congress. But that's not just it. Go out to California. And I know we like to think California is just blue, 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 and it is. But there's this little pocket, and I'm sure Larry's been there.
County.
Orange County. You get it's called Republicans. We have this urge to be cannibals, and we want to cannibalize each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
And I think some of that's because of complacency, excitement, boredom. Like, I mean, it's not much fun if you go, okay, Pat, it's your year. You get to be the state representative this year, and no one's going to challenge you, and we wish you a great 8 years. And Larry, you're up in 2000, whatever day it is. That's not the way this works. Ego, ambition, the challenges of the day do not derail someone from deciding they want to go do this. The things that derail folks are money and pockets of support. So take Collier County, right? You've got, I would argue, it's the most factional county of any of those that I engage in, but it's not dissimilar to others. It just has more people who have more to gain, more to lose, and more interest in crafting the way the community is going to look in the future. Mm-hmm. I listen to these fights all the time, and this is not different in any county, by the way. The local chartered Republican executive committees, as long as I've been around, and I'm like Larry, I've been here my whole life. It has gone like this. It's an up and down, up and down. It's this group takes power, the next group takes power. This group takes power, the next group takes power. Then everybody goes, this is the worst group that's ever had power. And I'm thinking, I heard that from the previeth group who took power, and then the previous group from there who took power. And I mean, I can remember a time where I don't know if you guys know her, but there's a park named after her father, former county chairwoman Carla Haas-Dean, who lives in Tallahassee. And I remember you would go into a CCREC meeting, and I don't think people wanted to raise their hands. You would sit at attention. It was like someone was going to come slap you on the wrist with a ruler. I was a precinct committee man, and you didn't say boo. You didn't offer an opinion. Today you will vote. Here is how you will vote.
It's kind of like that,
right? But then you get other years where it's an absolute free for all. This guy's over here yelling. That guy's over here yelling. That guy just threatened somebody on the other side of the room. Mm-hmm. Those two on the dais are breaking for water. But if you go to any other county, it's very, very similar. There's a struggle. Mm-hmm. Then the struggle's on the right. You asked me what races are most meaningful to me. Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer that the races that were most meaningful were the ones where we could clear the field to reduce the overall expense for a particular party, in this case, the Republican Party. Man, by the way, just a sidetrack, I get so trapped in the old ways of speaking, and for that, it may not make sense for you guys, but I've been at Americans for Prosperity for 11 years.
It's been 11.
11. And I just left, so I'm still trapped in this, safe. How do I explain what I've been... There was 11 years where I wasn't allowed to represent my own personal feelings and beliefs on a number of things and candidates. And I should have probably worn a Trump 45 hat in here, because it would have been the first time I was allowed to do it in a public space and felt good about it.
Yeah.
I digress. Point is, I was trying to play it safe with my language, and I shouldn't. The country is a mess, and the best candidates and the best cycles that we have are the ones in which we take a slim margin and grow it to a massive policy or partisan majority for the Republicans. And that can only be done when we don't cannibalize each other. So in 2000, I guess it would have been 2008, 2010, I got sent by the Florida Senate campaigns. And for those people who don't know, Florida is broken up in between House campaigns, Senate campaigns, and the RPOF. And there are actually 3 distinct groups at the party. They are not one. Mm-hmm. One can't tell the other what to do, and the money's not the same. Mm-hmm. So I got a call. Hey, you're going to go do a job. We need you to go to this Senate district, and we need you to politely ask the other 2 candidates running against the incumbent to do the right thing and not run.
That's the favorite word, right?
Do the right thing. And I said, well, how am I going to explain that? They said, well, you can tell them we're going to lose the seat, or they can do the right thing. We'll save the party a ton of money, and we can go win 2 seats we don't currently have. And that's the math I think has been missing. We spend all these resources killing each other.
Oh, yeah.
And there are pickups everywhere. And if you ask big organizations, name them, the Chamber, AFP, Action, all these different PACs, why aren't you engaging here and here and here? It's because they're having to put out fires we should never have started in the first place.
Right.
We're spending resources. So I got sent to do a Senate campaigns job, and it worked. I'd never done that before. I'd never had to sit down next to you and go, I've been sent here as an emissary to tell you to essentially go pound sand politely and that wait your turn, do the right thing.
Mhm.
And I remember reading through the bullet points, sitting down going, this is not going to work with this guy. This guy is going to tell me to fly a kite or he's going to throttle me right here at the table. And I was, in my 20s. And as Larry likes to remind me, I'm not tall. I'm not exactly an intimidating figure to sit across from. And he looked at me and goes, okay. I was like, wow, that was really easy. So the next one was totally different. The next one was, what are you going to give me? That's always the next line. You always get the one that does it for the right reasons. I only got into it to challenge the ideas.
Yeah.
And then you get the next one. It's like, what are you going to give me? Well, I can't give you anything because that's called illegal.
Then I'm staying in the race.
Yeah. Yeah. And then suddenly you figure out that the money argument you made or that they were asking you for is eventually just going to run out their clock anyways. They either don't have it, don't want to spend it, whatever it is. So I get a call from Senate campaigns. You did a great job. We found out today the other candidate has dropped. I said, well, I've only been here a month and a half. They said, you've already won the race. On qualifying day, the incumbent will win. And on qualifying day, the incumbent will win. I said, okay. She won. They said, now you're going to go over to, and God love him. I don't know if he'll hate me or kill me for this, but there used to be a senator, former appropriations chairman named J.D. Alexander, a very big appropriations chairman, old ag family from Central Florida. And everybody in the legislature was terrified of the senator because didn't speak very often, but what he did, he spoke with authority. And he also had this little checkbook called the state budget. And he could basically give you or take away whatever was important to your community. And they said, he doesn't want to run again. We need you to go down there. We told him we're going to send you. We're going to give him all these resources because we desperately need him to run again. Because that's the other thing that happens. Take people that maybe you aren't super fond of in the political process because they're either not as strongly aligned with you or whatnot, but it gets back to saving money to pick up things to grow our majority. A lot of people have wanted different members to no longer be in office until they realize they want to spend money in other seats. You've got congressmen and women who you might be like, I really wish they weren't there. But they have the best chance of winning that seat again. And this happens a lot in the U.S. Senate, where you're like, this is the best option because we will have to spend the least, right? And they suddenly flex and go, I don't want to run again. I'm done. I've done my time. I've been in Congress for 30 years. I've been in the Senate or the House for this amount of time. And someone has to make the case to them. We desperately need you to stay for the good of the country, the good of the state, whatever it might be. So they sent me to JD. And I went to his private office, and because obviously can't go to a state office at the time. And I know I'm walking in. They say he can be a little frustrating to talk to, and he's maybe not going to like this message. I sit there in the dark lit lobby. This lady's just banging. It's like a bad movie scene. She's banging away on her computer. It's clearly the secretary. I'm waiting like 30 minutes to an hour. This door opens to the side. She goes, you can go in. I was like, this is creepy. This is really like a bad movie. It's not even like a real door. I'm like walking through some wall practically. And then he's just sitting in the dark on a nice leather reclining seat, or maybe it wasn't reclining, but he was reclining. And leg up, he says, what's your name? Gave my name. He says, so you're the little SOB they sent to try to get me to do this. And I went, yes, Senator, I am. And he said, well, state your case. He gave me about 10 minutes. He sat there. He stood up. And this is the gamesmanship of politics, I guess, and testing people. He opened another door that opened to another place. And in that room was an entire table of his kitchen cabinet. He'd already decided he was going to run, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just testing me. But then I got thrust into this new community, a new statewide. Senate elections are bigger. They're bigger than House elections. They just are. In Florida, at that time, a state Senate election was $2 million. Today, you can't get away with a state Senate election under $10 million, right? That's just where we're at. Set up the campaign. He wins by a landslide out the door. But my favorite campaign isn't the one I won. It's the one I lost. And I'm staying to Florida because if I talk about the other states, I'll tell you, they get wonky and confusing. But I got sent to a guy, and he'll when you get him on here one day, he'll verify all this. I got sent to a guy who had just become a brand new father. He had been asked to challenge an incumbent Democratic senator, a popular, famous incumbent Democratic senator, with a war chest unseen before in Florida. And he was thinking, this Democratic senator was thinking he may run for attorney general. Okay. At the time, he was thinking, I'm going to maybe do this. I'm going to run for Republican attorney general of Florida.
I think I know where you're going.
And they say, you're going to go to Fort Myers, Florida. You're going to meet this guy. His wife doesn't want him to do it. They just had a baby 2 weeks ago. He's doing the best he can. He's real passionate about politics. He wants to change Lee County. Okay, well, the district covers Palm Beach and Lee, because that was in the days where districts crossed the swamp.
Yeah.
Just like when Larry ran. Larry was going to represent Fort Lauderdale if he beat my dad, you know? I mean,
and
it was confusing.
A million alligators, too.
Those are your primary constituents.
Yeah.
Still sort of are in a lot of ways on occasion. But I got to meet this guy named Matt Caldwell, who is the current Lee County property appraiser. And he hates this story, and I know that the party hates this story, but I get to tell this story because it's been over a decade since it happened. Oh, gosh, it's been longer than that. It's been 14, almost 15 years now. But they said, you go there, you set up a campaign, and they said, we have one piece of information that you will not share with the candidate. At any point, will you share this with the candidate? We have two goals. The goal is to drain Dave Ehrenberg's CCE, which at the time was our version of a PAC. Mm-hmm. Your job is to make sure he doesn't have the resources to run for attorney general. We need him to spend heavy on this Senate campaign, so we need a real competitive challenger. So we tell Matt, you can win. It's going to be great. We're cutting TV ads that week. We're dropping mail. They'd made this funny money with Dave Ehrenberg's face on it for Matt to give out at the doors as a door gag. He's all passionate and excited, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about his opportunity to serve. And this is the other piece of information they said not to share. You don't have the resources to campaign in Palm Beach. So we advise you do not campaign in Palm Beach County. Well, that's half the district. It's like 40% of the district. And at the time, it was the largest voting percentage of the district. Roughly. Matt will probably argue that. But I said, okay, I can't tell him. No. So we're going through the campaign, door knocking, doing all the things. Matt is a classic grassroots door knocking machine. And if you've ever talked to Matt Caldwell, he's a thoughtful individual, and he knows the issues, and he knows Lee County.
That's my cousin through marriage.
No, it's not.
Ask him.
I don't believe you.
What you want to bet?
That is no. We play the betting game. I never win bets with you. I'm not doing.
Well,
but it's going to be good information for me because I'm going to use that against him. You know that at some point,
and that's why he'll win.
And not to rush you, Chris, but I want to get to some other stuff. So
yeah. Long story short, Matt wins every single precinct in Lee and Hendry County. He never wins a precinct in Palm Beach because we didn't let him campaign there. And he asked me in Midway, he goes, where did all the resources go? Why'd they dry up? And why have we not been to Palm Beach? I was like, I have to tell you now because I can't take it anymore. We were told not to. And he was jaded, and 2 years later, he ran again and won for the House. But that's my favorite campaign because it opened my eyes. Nice. Those three scenarios and won that year and 3 Senate campaigns have carried me forward in how I process the information and what's actually going on in all of these efforts and contests. So a couple thousand races. Here I sit looking at Larry, and I just joined a new team.
I heard.
Welcome to the squad, baby.
I just joined a new team.
Welcome to the squad.
Probably the winning team.
I mean, I hope.
You drop a hint or...
I said, welcome to the squad.
Welcome to the new team. Say less.
Say less.
Yeah. I think it'll be a winning team in 2026. We'll just leave it at that.
I think it's going to be a great team.
Got better.
I think Florida is ready for something new.
The first,
but something unlike anything else that's ever come before.
I think Florida is going to be very lucky. And I think everything happens for a reason. That's why maybe gentleman didn't get VP, because he's got bigger things in his future.
Never know what God has in store.
Never know what God has in store. And got to roll a little bit quickly. But speaking of VP, you're such a political guru, and I love that about you. But we got to keep the show moving a little bit. The VP debate. I'm not a big JD Vance fan. You guys can yell at me, but just real quick, a synopsis of what you think. I thought he did well last night, but you're debating against. I don't even know what would classify Tim Walz, but
I mean, all I gotta say is when JD talked about immigration at the border and was talking about it, and
strong.
Tim Walz is nodding. Every time JD made a good point, Tim Walz was nodding, and I'm like, Is he really acknowledging that what he is saying is true? I will say, JD, great book, Hillbilly Elegy. Not my style. I don't believe in Appalachian fatalism. My family's from the Appalachian area, so I don't believe in the fatal approach that he wrote about. But I will say, in terms of debate, of the 4 people to debate thus far this cycle, he has been the best. He was on point, pivoted correctly. He kept it on message. He did no harm. VP debates are about doing no harm.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
it is a check the box and do no harm.
And I would argue he's done that ticket more harm than good. Because you're kind of either give it a little jolt or just kind of stay the course. And I don't think he's added anything to that ticket. I think he's hurt it a little bit more because when the campaign has to kind of come out and damage control, you're not helping it. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I didn't like the pick. I said it from the time. Maybe a little bit biased, but honestly, I thought Tulsi Gabbard would have been a home run VP pick.
Tulsi's been good. I think it's geolocation that would have made it a challenge. The one thing I will say that JD brings to the ticket, he brings this new thing we've never had, and you saw this at the convention. We have the Teamsters who are supporting Kamala at the lowest numbers ever.
No.
We have the Teamsters who are focused on our issues. JD is a labor guy at his heart because he comes from Ohio. He's a labor guy at his heart because he comes from the Appalachian region that was decimated by bad policies over the years that created that fatalism. So because he's a labor guy, he's trusted with labor.
But I think we would have got that regardless.
I agree.
We would have got that regardless. I mean, there's no doubt. I'm 100% completely biased. It was only 2 people that could have been VP, if you ask me.
Who's the second?
Yeah.
I know who the
Never
first
mind
is.
the first.
Yeah, Marco Rubio. Just because of things that Trump want to do, you need somebody that's real strong with foreign policy. And I don't think there's no one else in the Senate that's as strong as Marco Rubio when it comes to foreign policy. No one. Name him.
No, I just don't think he had that trust in Rubio, and that's just from an outsider speaking, but I can't blame him for that, especially after what he went through with Pence.
And you know, one thing I watched some of the debate last night, but I was more concerned with how I look at the afterwards and how America take it. I look at a lot of the comments and so forth. And it's one thing that I have seen by the majority of people. They was talking about the respect those 2 gentlemen have for each other.
Yeah, that was nice to see.
And they was like, we'd rather see
it was adults.
Yeah, them,
which is
than the other 2.
What it's come to, like,
and that's crazy. They were like, they'd rather see the VPs. And really, a lot of people don't pay attention to policies and everything else going on, but it's just the respect factor, the courtesy, and so forth. I was just constantly reading this. They were like, man, we really didn't care, but it's time to see people trying to get along. And both of the men talked about how they'll shake hands and they'll be willing to still try to work with each other despite they might not like it. I said, okay, that's what's up. So that's what I was reading.
Speaking of the respect factor, I think it's time you put some respect on the U.
Amen to that. I mean, you have all these great Miami boys in Immokalee who have done amazing things for the sport of football.
You came up with one.
Yeah. Heroes, I would say. You were surrounded by real heroes. Instead, you went
in heart, you're a Miami guy.
Yeah.
We know in heart you're a Miami guy.
Don't you have a relative who's a Miami guy?
Yeah.
Who are y'all talking to?
We're talking to, 1 and 4. Notice how you haven't seen Larry Love with any FSU gear lately?
Yeah. Quitter.
Never been a quitter. See, y'all just wasn't around me when I was wearing my Florida State gear. Miami didn't pay me. Miami didn't give me not one scholarship. I have not one college credit from the University of Miami.
That's okay, but we just need you to put some respect on that.
I would never.
Because, I mean, if you want to talk about all-time athletes, it doesn't get any better than Miami.
We could go athlete from athlete.
Let's do it. Give me your top 5 FSU, and we'll give you our top 5 Miami. And
this isn't even fair. This isn't going to be fair.
How? Because y'all going to name 5 Hall of Famers. I'm going to name 5 Hall of Famers.
You can't name 5 Hall of Famers from Florida State.
Please. Somebody get the Google box. Get the Google. Whatever.
Deion Derrick Brooks.
Hold on.
No, go ahead.
The award for the best wide receiver is given to who? And what's his name? And where he's from?
Fred Biletnikoff.
What school he went to?
He went to FSU. So you're at 3. Biletnikoff's in the Hall of Fame?
I would imagine. I don't know that, but I would imagine.
Well, let's give you Biletnikoff. You got Derrick Brooks and Deion. I'm waiting for the other 2 FSU Hall of Famers. Actually, there's one I just thought of too. So
Yeah,
you're at 4.
I know there's one.
You name it, but I'm going
Walter Jones.
That's the best offensive tackle ever known to mankind.
I mean, Orlando Pace and
the man was the man made all pro since his rookie year till he retired.
But we're struggling to think of 5. Just think about it. We don't even have to struggle to think of 5 in Miami.
I'll just spit them out. I mean, let's go. We can start on Mockley, Edgerrin James. We can go to Ed Reed if you want to.
Ed Reed.
You know,
Michael
Irvin, Reggie Wayne, Ray Lewis, Sean Taylor would have made the Hall of Fame had he not tragically
Jim
passed.
Kelly,
Warren Sapp, Cortez Kennedy. Keep going. Oh, you want to talk about offensive line? Bryant McKinney.
Oh man, this is painful for you. This is actually my favorite part of the day. I'm gonna have such a good day now. This show has done one thing for me. It's made me relive horrifying campaign moments, and it's made me.
I mean, how many other schools can you consider tight end you, D line you, DB you? I mean, a linebacker you.
You guys are the circus you, right? That's
what you guys are. Jim Kelly for Hall of Fame.
Oh, God, such a good quarterback.
You know,
and can you imagine at one time we had Willis McGahee, Frank Gore, who will be in the Hall of Fame, and Clinton Portis in the same backfield?
What about Testaverde? I mean,
let me ask you something,
please.
I know my tenure at Florida State, we never lost to UM. No, both of you gentlemen.
Well, we were.
Both of you gentlemen are younger than me.
We were on probation.
Yeah, man, a probation that should be rescinded, repaid. We need restitution.
Yeah. Excuses?
Yeah. No.
Do we make those?
You make them all the time.
That's a doggone lie. But okay, when you was in college during your, I don't know exactly what years they were, but I'm pretty sure Florida State was beating the heck out of Miami then.
You had a 5-year window, but talk about before that, you guys could never beat. Bobby Bowden went years before he could beat Miami. I think it took Miami getting on probation.
Man, you talking about them wide lefts and wide rights, man. Listen,
what does that sound like?
That's the only thing.
What does that sound like?
No, I'm talking about what you're talking about.
You said excuse.
No, that's not excuses. You said the time when Bobby Bowden beat him. I said, yes. You talking about the wide rights and the wide lefts.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We lost.
A loss is a loss, right?
Yeah, loss is a loss. You know, we own that. But I know, matter of fact, you all talking about when you all was like infants and toddlers in the 80s when Miami was winning?
No,
are you,
bro? I was
what's
in
that class?
high school and college when Miami
2001.
Yeah.
What was the year Ed Reed was on the squad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Arguably the greatest college football team in the history of the NCAA.
1,000%.
Oh, all 99
With the
team.
more
All
draft
99
class.
team. All 99 team would have spanked that.
You're correct.
They even said the 2013 team would have spanked.
You know the nice
so
thing
Peter
about
Warwick was the best player on the 99 team, if I'm correct.
If you really want to,
hold on.
really want to get technical, it would have been Randy Moss.
He wasn't on the team.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
Okay,
but
I'm trying to go with Peter Warwick. So all you gotta do, you put Philip Buchanan or an Ed Reed. Peter Warwick washed
stop
away.
This show, man. Stop this show.
Philip Buchanan.
Peter Warwick, yeah.
There wasn't not one DB in college football that could guard P.
Ed Reed.
He's a safety.
Sean Taylor.
They can't
tell me
guard.
Sean Taylor can't.
They can't guard P. Dub.
We remember when Miami went to Sean Taylor would have laid him out like he did in Tallahassee.
Listen, man, what we had was weapons of mass destruction.
And Sean Taylor would have taken out those
mass destruction. You had Bobby Bowden. That was it. That's what you had.
We had trouble. Well, Lavernus Coles. Lavernus Coles, a.k.a. Trouble. Nobody in it.
So listen to this. We had back there Sean Taylor, Ed Reed, Mike Rumpf, Philip Buchanan, and Antrell Rowe playing nickel.
Man, we would have, as we did, we smashed everything that stood in our way.
But you wouldn't the 01 team. You probably wouldn't even beat the 2000 team.
They was all man, stop. Stop. Listen, man.
Buddy.
We had Snoop.
Snoop Menace? Oh, please. Sean Taylor would have taken.
Oh, listen, Snoop, Lavernus, P-Dub. And then you had Talman Gardner. Then you had Anquan Bolden come in. Listen, man, we had weapons of mass destruction.
Anquan Bolden was playing quarterback. Yeah. He was barely playing receiver.
Matter of fact, he went to go play for your team, didn't he? Didn't Anquan play for the 49ers?
I respect the heck out of
Wait a minute. Wait. Pause. Did I just hear
tough as nails?
You're a Niners fan?
No, he said my team.
You're a Niners fan?
I am a Niners fan.
I need 6 feet of social distance. I already feel sick.
Why is that?
Niners?
Yeah.
You didn't say nothing about this.
I grew up a Niner.
Listen,
I've been a Niner fan since 1990.
I'm speechless.
Why? What's the problem?
I mean,
the greatest NFL franchise.
Oh my God!
Here we go.
Stop.
Stop.
It's rotated. The animosity has changed completely. Who's your team?
You already know.
Larry doesn't know what team.
He doesn't.
It was
ever
the
know.
Dolphins when I met him.
Listen, okay.
That was the Cowboys.
He's a
It was
bandwagon
Steeler
fan.
at
See,
one
why
point.
you keep bringing this?
Because you were.
Listen, man.
You
We
quit
was
on
going-
teams
no,
and
no,
move
no, no,
on.
no, no, no.
You quit on
Okay.
teams and move on.
No, let me explain it, right? In my heart, I'm a Dolphin. I grew up in South Florida. Okay, my mom died. She was the only Cowboy in the family. So I just took on her legacy.
Which is okay.
So that's
Yeah.
the reason why I started
Okay,
supporting
okay,
Cowboys in 2004. And and that foolish shit he talking about Steelers, I was just going to the
Half a
Steelers
season.
game because
wear
of
a
my
team-
ex.
If you wear a team's jersey, wouldn't you consider him a fan?
Come on,
If
man.
you're not
Well,
represent-
no.
the player.
In fairness, we did open this conversation with me saying he was flawed, and I already acknowledged that I think he dresses poorly.
Mm-hmm.
So
He just
It
made
kinda-
it wrong.
yeah, it's just a wrong decision. He went into his closet, he got lost. It's probably massive, by the way. The amount of stuff I've seen him wear,
his
it's probably
clo-
massive.
his-
So it was probably in between the I wish I
remember
was a
on-
Miami fan and I wish I was a Bucks fan, and
You remember MTV
know,
Cribs?
yeah.
People's closet.
Yeah.
Larry
yeah.
needs an MTV Cribs just
Yeah.
for his closet. I don't even know. Don't tell me you're a Dolphin fan.
No, I don't believe in Flipper.
Who are you?
I'm a Buccaneer fan.
That's where I thought he was going to go.
I'm a Buccaneer fan.
Yeah,
Been
Two
one of the
good
one of
years.
the worst
Yeah.
NFL franchises in the NFL.
Wait. There are still how many franchises that don't have a Super Bowl?
if that's your argument, then
We have,
yeah,
what,
I
2?
guess.
3?
You hold on. You have 2.
Hey,
Unless
you know
I'm
what?
Missing
Speaking
something.
of Super Bowls and championships, what
I-
was the last Florida school to win the Natty?
Really?
Who was the last? Which school was the last Florida school to win the Natty?
What you mean, the crab legs year?
I see.
Poor Publix.
Listen.
Publix was defiled. You know,
Oh my God, man!
Publix
should be an
will never
asterisk on-
recover.
on that scene.
now they got plexiglass to the ceiling
Oh,
now
yeah.
in Publix because of that moment.
They
See,
you
if
need
you
a
wanna-
key to unlock the
Everybody know what
seafood
was
case
going on
now.
in Tallahassee. Everybody know. I mean, it's college. Everybody live off the hookup, the barter system, as I call it. You know,
FSU, every championship they have is flawed. I mean, from the free shoe era to whatever.
So I will say
Peter
this
Warwick
though.
was going to Marshalls, or not Marshalls, Dillard's, right? Or was that the free shoe?
allegedly.
Everything's
Allegedly.
allegedly. These guys. Hey, look, you got to give him credit though. I don't want to do this out loud, but I apparently am live on your show, so I guess I'm going to have to say it out loud. Deep breath. FSU has put out, specifically their athletic program, has put out some pretty darn good academics and politicians. Clay Ingram,
That's my
Peter
guy.
Boulware,
That's my guy, Clay.
Byron Donalds.
Corey Simon, Byron Don. I mean, so they have
Peter Bowler is a
atrocious
bit
athletes
conservative.
in the second run after their college career, but
Yeah.
they have great political leaders and figures and champions for Florida that come
You
out of
forgot
Florida
Larry
State.
Wilcox.
That's what we do, baby. That's why people go to Florida State, man.
I
You go
thought-
to Florida State to win and to become very successful.
That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was something else.
I thought it was the
The
circus.
37-1 ratio.
Oh, ratios matter.
37-1.
37 what? What? Like
37-1
what? 37 to and what?
ratio.
I never said
So-
37.
So I got to tell a last story because I know you're going to run up against it. So the other
Yeah.
day, so I'm my new role. I'm working at Prestige Printing, right, as the VP of Political, and I'm working at Ace Political, and I terrified the whole office twice now. So 3 weeks ago, this guy walks into the office. He's got a hoodie on. He's got his sandals on, black socks. It's not him, and he's got his head down. He's got sunglasses on.
Because Larry doesn't wear socks with his flip
Yeah, he's well. That actually
Sometimes
makes
it-
sense though. I don't know.
You should know.
But our good friend and congressman walked in to see the operation in his district. The sheer look of everybody like, okay, all right, this is real. He's here right now. He's a normal person. I was like, yeah, he's a normal person. So fast forward, Larry comes walking to the door. They all did the same thing. They're like, you said he works for the congressman? Yeah, he does. And everybody gets very excited about the good work that Congressman Donalds does down here in the area. So I have a shop about 60 people at Prestige Printing, and they get really excited seeing the stuff that these guys are doing. And I try not to tell, but this FSU story keeps coming up because he came up that one time, you came up, And the design team, these guys are fabulous people. They're a little weird, a little strange. But if you sit in front of a computer all
The
day,
design team.
yeah, like, I mean, there's a level of
you want a
nerdiness.
normal person being on your
it-
design team.
the nerd level is 10x.
It's like a musician. You got to be weird.
And they're musicians too. I've talked to two of them, but they have a special language. I don't understand it, but it all works. And I write things in email and they translate it differently onto the screen and onto mail and whatever, because I do a lot of direct mail. So they see Larry, and Larry's very social. So when Byron came in, Byron was just there, say hello, visit the operation.
Byron's all business.
Byron's all business. Larry comes in. They're like, is he starting to work here? Like, is this guy joining the team? Like, because he just walks in like he does everywhere. Like he owns the joint. And then
sometimes you got to do that.
But then you share it with a little bit of people about like what he is and what he isn't. And the minute you tell people he's an FSU fan, the one guy in the office is like, "Oh, I'm an FSU fan," and the other two are like, "I don't know." I'll tell you what, man, you're invited back though, because the FSU fan, the designer in there, I'm sure he's willing to do basically anything for you guys. Man.
See, that's my guy. He's a smart man,
but he's a Packers fan. The problem with these
be
Bay Area, there's only one good Bay Area team. I don't know why you guys don't understand.
My buddy Javon Walker, Florida State.
He was at Tampa Bay.
Listen, Javon Walker went up there to Green Bay and he caught some touchdowns from Favre.
So did a lot of people.
And one of the best DBs ever, still ever, who started the Lambeau Leap, he was from Florida State.
Leroy Butler did start the Lambeau Leap.
And T-Buck, Terrell Buckley. You know, listen, man, Florida State is an amazing school, man. I promise you all. You should have went there, Chris. You should have went there, Pat.
I wouldn't have survived.
I know. We don't let people like you up there.
I would not have made it.
I know, man, because, honestly, you're a wild cannon, man, and
I got a big mouth. They'd have dumped me somewhere out by the airport.
Because you know what?
They would have
Yes, you're talking about UM a lot, because during that era there, you couldn't come on our campus talking crazy. Like UM or UF.
You couldn't do that.
You can do that type of stuff now.
Back then,
yeah, you can do that stuff now. But like, man, your car if you had a plate with an outside school, a rivalry school, oh man, your car was getting smashed.
And then we didn't even mention The Rock went to Miami. I mean, you want to talk about one of the most famous people.
The man.
That guy could probably run for president and have a legitimate
man. We got
chance.
All the famous people we got. We got Richard Simmons, man. He just we got Richard Simmons. We got
you jazzercising.
We got Burt Reynolds. Like
jazzercising.
See, that's what you're going to, Burt Reynolds.
Do you have a step-up platform you're going to next? I mean, are you leading a Pilates class after this?
We have Sylvester Stallone.
Man, that's a lie. That's a lie.
I don't throw out lies on the show.
That's a lie.
Larry's leading the yoga retreat after this with Gene. Or Richard, sorry.
You used to work out to Richard Simmons' house?
I actually did with my mother. Yeah. I was like 9 years old, man. My boy used to be in there.
I don't want to. There's a visual component that I did not expect from today, and none of it is going well in my mind.
Listen, man, I didn't expect that you all to start talking crazy. That's foolery.
We just dropped facts. All right, let's do a quick rapid fire, then we'll let you run, Chris. We got to close the show up. I'm going to do this from the Dome today. Casino or Goodfellas?
Goodfellas.
Man, I just can't.
By time if we on the same page.
Training Day or American Gangster?
Training Day.
Montana or Marino?
He's got the same birthday as me, Marino.
That's a smart man. He's smart.
You just went down a lot of notches. Wow. That's Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses.
Ooh.
Two different ballads. I'm gonna go Guns N' Roses.
Okay. Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
Quick.
He moved back up a notch.
I didn't even know that was I thought that was a trick question. Like that was.
It should be. Some people answer Biggie though. You'd be surprised.
They got to be from New York. Only person that answers Biggie is Byron. Like, especially in the South.
I think Trey said Biggie, but he backed.
Trey, he's from Ohio. He's true hip hop, so he loves hip hop.
But Trey made a good point. Party, Biggie, car, Tupac. So I can respect that. Where was I going? Mark Levin or Michael Savage?
Wow,
they were big rivals at one time too.
They
would drop subliminals and not subliminals at each other. I don't know. That was like a Tupac Biggie beef.
I'm gonna go Levin.
Really
good pick.
I like Savage myself.
I like that. They're hard to pick between, but
Levin's
theological bent on some things catches me up.
If I'm the whole point of this rapid fire, because I get crap from it all the time. You put people on the spot with the it's two strong people or
You gotta
whatever.
pick.
That's why, if you make that list. Hannity or Tucker?
Tucker.
Yeah, I agree with that. Congressman Donalds or Governor Donalds? Because someone made a good point to me. He thinks.
Do I get to expound on that one?
No, it's rapid fire. You gotta.
No, I mean I know my pick. My pick's easy, but I feel like that one needs exploration sometime. I'm gonna go Governor Donalds.
Okay, I agree. Someone said Congressman thinks he could do more in D.C.
Can't do anything on the. Can't do anything.
But or he's more needed in D.C.
That might be true.
More. Reagan or Trump?
Reagan.
Interesting. Governor Scott or Governor DeSantis?
Larry knows this is the hardest question you were going to ask me all day.
This is Trey. Trey was frozen for.
Yeah,
we all been there.
They both are not my biggest fans, so I guess I'll go with who I think dislikes me the least. I'm going to go with Governor Scott.
Okay, that's a good pick. And then real quick, unless Larry has something, the greatest Florida politician of all time.
Current or former?
All time.
Just politician.
Now, keyword's politician. Larry will point that out. So you may not necessarily even agree with his politics, but from a political standpoint, just politically savvy, or you could just go
Richard Corcoran.
Ooh.
Former House Speaker Richard Corcoran, and now current New College President Richard Corcoran.
Where at?
New College of Florida. He is the president now of New College of Florida, which is like Sarasota, Ringling area. Yeah.
You know what's when I said politician and he said it like, who I said the greatest politician ever in the state of Florida? Charlie
Crist. The most retail of all retail guys. His dollar trick is arguably the best campaign strategy in the history of campaign.
He's very politically savvy, and
the dude is amazing. I've never seen nothing like him.
Chameleon.
No one's ever done the dollar trick but him.
Has anyone ever run 3 different parties for Democrat, Republican, Independent?
And
a couple parties, but not all 3.
Yeah,
and not be the leader. I mean, he actually won.
Well, he won in one Republican. I guess you could say he got the Democrat nomination.
Yeah, he got the Democrat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and then real quick, I don't know if you can, but besides Byron, two potential governor, Florida governor. I know Governor Donalds, Gates are the top 2. Who would you put third, Petronas or Moody?
Man.
If I had to handicap who was coming next, I'm probably going to give it to Commissioner Simpson because he has the resources to play at a level like would be required. And then I'm going to throw a fourth one at you that maybe you guys both haven't thought about. Let's just suppose that our good friend Senator Scott does not win the leader of the Senate. What's to stop him from coming and running for governor again?
Can he do that again? You can do that?
Post redistricting, an 8-year gap.
I just heard again.
I mean,
a
know
couple
more than
days
I do,
ago.
but that wouldn't really make too much sense to me.
Imagine losing a leadership battle in the Senate is like being relegated to the back bench in a lot of ways. You're still powerful. You're a senator, but you're not the same level of powerful.
I know Casey's name came up again a couple days ago.
Yeah, but I'd be surprised. But all right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Got to run. Appreciate you having me on, Chris. My head's spinning with political knowledge. I want to bring you back on, and I want to talk about the general election. And I remember you're my go-to guy to asking about like ballot harvesting and political questions. Maybe we'll do a live show where people can submit questions. So thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. 14 years in the making.
Dude, this has been phenomenal. I don't save many media clips, but I'm going to go back and just refresh the part where we tag teamed on him. And I am going to share it with everybody and anybody. And 14 years from now, I'm still going to go, do you remember that time where you just got abused for like a solid hour? On air. That was 5 minutes of straight up hate. And that was illegal abuse, right? We're clear. There's a disclaimer there that he signed up for this.
We didn't do any Diddy style abuse. Yeah, that's allegedly.
Dun, 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 dun.